everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Nico and I am a full-time eBay reseller. So this is my consignment video that I've been talking about for a couple of days, and I'm going to do my best to make it make sense. It's a little bit, I wouldn't even say it's complicated. It's just a circular route to get higher end inventory basically for free. And this is not clickbait. It is true. It does take your body and labor, and you do have to go, still find cheap items to sell to the consignment store. So it's not free in the sense that you just do nothing and it comes to you in the mail and then you sell it on eBay. It's not like that. It is a labor intensive way to get free inventory for your eBay business that's quality. All of us can get free inventory by driving around to garage sales at the end of a Saturday and just taking what they have. And I'm not saying that there can't be treasures in there, but that is lower end inventory. What I'm doing is trying to up my sale price to $30 plus shipping on eBay as often as possible. And that is not easy. It's not easy to afford that kind of inventory, even when you find it. Finding it to me is not that hard. You just go to these higher end consignment stores, it's sitting right there, or you go to garage sales where they want $15 a piece for their stuff and it's sitting there. To me, finding it is not the difficult part. It's if you're willing to work hard and travel and go within a couple hours of your house, that is not hard. It's being able to afford to buy it cash flow wise. And, you can go back and look at my past videos. I had life happen, so my cash flow is always tight. I still have some personal debt that we're trying to pay off. That is why my cash flow is tight, because I am full-time and I have to take a certain amount out of my eBay business every single week. I don't get to just say, well, this week was slow and, my husband pays all the bills. My husband's a wonderful person. He tries to pay all the bills, but he got hit too with some medical bills and things. And if you want to hear that whole story, you can go back to my previous videos. I'm very transparent about it. But life is good. We're very blessed, but we are older and we're trying to be not only debt-free, but we are investing in our retirement accounts. We're trying to make up for what happened to us. And so I don't have the luxury of saying, oh, I found a great amount of inventory this week. I'm going to spend everything I made this week on new and better inventory. I have to take my salary and then figure out how to get through next week with the income I have. Now, this is an improving situation. It's getting better and better, but we're not there yet. So I am very tight cash flow wise all the time based on trying to be full-time. I'm probably full-time too early. I probably should have hung in there with nursing another year or two and made sure that I was 100% debt-free before I tried to go full-time. But there are reasons, which you can go back in my past videos and learn about, that I did not do that. I did not hate nursing. It just, the lifestyle of nursing, especially where I live, was night shifts, holidays, weekends. I was trying to recover from what happened to us with our son, and to just work all those weird shifts and never get off work when you needed to because, they're so shorthanded that you can't even get a day off. So that's why, at least for right now, I've chosen not to work full-time as a nurse. Now, I'm definitely eligible to go back tomorrow. If I decided that this is too chaotic, I might go back to nursing and run back to that kind of chaos. But this is what I feel like I'm better at. I just have cash flow issues. And again, it's because I tried to go full-time sooner than I would have if life hadn't happened to us. So that's a quick explanation. So what am I doing to fix my cash flow issues? I have tons of options. I can work one day a week as a nurse and it's big bucks, guys. I'm not lying. And one day a week as a nurse is not going to stress anybody out. I could go back tomorrow and fix my cash flow issues in my business by making $300 or $400 more a week by working 12 hours. That's how much nurses get paid in my area, especially. So I have 1,000 options to fix this problem. But I am choosing to right now try this because I think it's the answer to my business forever. It is harder work, but going back to work as a nurse is harder work too. So this is the option I'm trying out. So this is an experiment that I've been doing on a small scale for over a year, and then now I'm trying to expand it. So 2 years ago, I had this idea. I'm not the first person with this idea. When you're at the bins and you see all of those people grabbing things, and then you get to know them or you hear them talk and they're like, no, I don't sell online, I just go sell it. I'm certainly not the first person who's had this epiphany. I think what most people do, though, is they go and sell it, take the cash, and then go home, and that is their job. And that's a legitimate job. If I lived in Denver and didn't have to have like a $2,000 apartment somehow, or tons of hotels, or a full-time Airbnb, I think I would maybe even lean toward doing that. I mean, you go to the bins for 6 or 7 hours, you really choose carefully, and then you go peddle it all over town at all the different consignment stores. You consign some, you take instant cash for others, and I know that that's what a lot of the people are doing who are there. So I am certainly, this is not some like thing that I just am coming up with and I'm the only one who knows about it. I'm just late to the game because of where I live. It's like it's a thing I had to figure out, how do I do this from where I live? So I've been doing this in a Wyoming consignment store for over a year. So they will take 25 items a week. And so I go to the bins, and I'm looking for my eBay inventory anyway. So I go to the bins, I get the highest quality stuff that I know this consignment store wants. And so I try to make my 25 items really work for me. I try to get the biggest check sitting there in consignment money that I can. And I haven't been doing that. For a while, I was just picking up the lightest weight stuff and taking it to them, which is also valid, a little money out and then you get a bigger check. But now I'm trying to think, what do they mark up? And I also don't take the cash. I could take the cash and go spend it at the bins again and just get my inventory only from the bins. But the bins is 2 hours farther away from me. So when I'm at the bins, I want to turn that into as much money as possible in the time that I'm there. So I not only grab all the good eBay stuff I can find that's in my $20 and above plus shipping, and I'm trying to eventually get to $30, but I'm happy right now with trying to do a $20 sale price plus shipping. And again, guys, sorry, I'm not trying to be all over the map. It's just that this has a lot of moving parts. So a year or two ago, I started just taking some of my leftovers out of my store, stuff that just wouldn't move, and I started to see, I can get checks here, and or get consignment cash. And then I think for a while I was taking the $50 a day that they'll let you take. You can go in and get $50 a day. So like right now I have close to a $200 credit. If I wanted to go be in that area, I could go in every day and get $50 in cash, or I can go in and get a check and they'll write my whole balance in a check. The problem is, and the reason it never occurred to me that this could be my sole supply of inventory, is because they limit you at this Wyoming consignment store. Not only do they only take 25 items a week, but they get overwhelmed. They're in a college town. They rely a lot on college students to do their staffing, I think. The owners are always in there. So even though this is a massive store, and I don't know what they net, but I know they do at least $1 million in sales, because I know what I take them and I know how much I'm spending and I see the line. And so it's not a small business, but the owners are very involved. But when it gets stressful, when there's spring break, when summer is here and they lose a lot of their staff, then you'll show up with your bag and they often say, we really don't want to take it. We need a week to catch up. Now, in my case, I'm fortunate. I live out of town. And so they take my bag no matter when I show up. So I'm a little bit blessed that way. If I lived in town, they would not take my bag on certain weeks. So you can do the math, and this is not enough for me to get all of the inventory that I want for eBay to get to my goal of $100,000 a year net, not gross. I'm already at 100K gross. I'm over 100K gross. But I want 100K net to match or make up for my nursing salary. And so anyway, I've been doing this on a small scale. It helps. It changes everything. Just this one Wyoming consignment store, because when it's really snowy out, I can just get to that town, and I always have a credit there, and I can at least source for like a week and get myself by till I can get to Denver. But if you've been watching my channel, this last 4 months were horrific as far as travel, and half the time I couldn't even get to that store. The roads were closed all the time. And then if I did get to that store or go to Denver, I was trapped on that side. And that happened to me like 3 times in a row, where I had extra hotel expenses and all of this. So that's why it never occurred to me really until recently that this could become a business. Or, well, it can become a business all its own, but that it could actually be the answer to my inventory problem and my cash flow problem. So I was at the bins the other day, and I'm not really mad at myself. I mean, life has definitely happened to me, so I'm easy on myself. But I was there and I'm like, I told myself last year in January I was going to go check out all these consignment stores, and I never did it. And that time it was not my own just laziness or something. My mom needed my help. I helped her for 8 months and just couldn't start a new business then. There was no way it was in my mental or physical capacity to do it. So then my husband and I in December were like, okay, this is a year. We're tired of this. We've got to get this streamlined. We've got to figure out these cash flow issues. And so, we had this whole plan. Well, it's June now, and I still haven't gone to check out these consignment stores. So I had plenty of inventory. I did not need to go to Denver, but my mom needed a ride to the airport. She's very healthy, all that, but doesn't drive on the interstate. So I said, okay, I'm there anyway. I'm not going to turn around and drive 3 hours home. I'm going to turn this into a business trip. I'm going to shop in the area at least that whole day. Well, we ended up stuck in traffic for literally 6 hours. There was a major deadly accident. It's very tragic on Highway 287. And so we sat there an hour thinking that we would get through, but then people started to see the Flight for Life, and we could see it. We were only about 20 cars back. So I'm actually just very thankful that we weren't up there, because it was a head-on collision caused by someone. So we felt very blessed, and it's fine, but we did have to turn all the way around, double 30 miles back, take the interstate all the way around, which is an extra hour of drive time. And I did get her to the airport on time since we had left so early. However, anyway, I got to Denver. I wasn't planning on staying the night, but I just literally been in the car for 6 straight hours. When we doubled back had to double back and turn around, big semis were turning around, and we just decided, okay, we give up too. So we turned around. We did have to stop and get gas, so that was my time out of the car, that quick get gas, run in, grab something to drink, and then get back in the car. But otherwise, I had been in the car for 6 straight hours without a break. And by the time I got her to Denver and everything, I said, I'm just going to stay. So I was at the bins just getting my eBay inventory. And I'm like, I already have a ton of eBay inventory. What am I doing? I know I already came up here and all of this, but all this wear and tear on my car, and I don't even need another week's worth of inventory. And like I said, I have to be very careful with my cash flow. I have to be very strategic. So I thought, I've put this off long enough. I'm here. I'm not really stuck, but I just don't have it in me to drive 4 hours home. That's like a 10-hour driving day. I didn't really have it in me. So I'm like, I am going to just start now and go see what these consignment stores are about in Denver. And so I did the best I could, and this is what I'm going to show you. It's kind of a mini haul also. I just started grabbing stuff. I knew nothing about these stores ever, never been in them. I checked them out like a year ago, had the print-offs of what they like to take, but I didn't have those with me at the bins. I kind of looked them up online. I'm like, well, I'm just going to pick this one and just go try it. So I thought, I'm just going to go make myself see what this is all about. Because all these people here at the bins are grabbing truckloads of stuff to go sell at these places, so surely I can figure it out too. And so I picked the one that gave you cash. And at least that's what I thought I was going to do when I got there. Now it turned out much better. But anyway, so I picked the one in Denver. They have 5 locations in Denver. And I thought, I'm just going to go try it. So this is what I picked. And I will show you that at the end so that I don't stop with the story. But the short version of the story, I know it's 16 minutes long to get to the end of the story. The gist of the story is, this is life-changing for my business because I'm willing to do the work. So the reason it's life-changing is I still have to go to the bins to get the inventory to take to them to sell. However, the things in their store are not all $20 and above sell-through rate things, which is what I've been trying to find at the bins. So I can grab more items. And this is just one store, guys. This is 5 locations, yes, in Denver, but it's only one chain. And there's Plato's Closet, there's Crossroads, there's Once Upon a Child, there's My Kids Closet, and then those are just like the pay cash type ones, right? Plato's Closet gives you cash. I don't know about Crossroads. I think they do. Never been there in my life. But there are like 25 more that you go around and consign to. And I plan on signing up for every single one. It may take me 2 years to have consignment accounts at all of these, but I am going to do it. Because I find great vintage in the Denver bins. And I'm not a good vintage seller. I'm not good on eBay. I don't know the styles. I don't have any interest or capability to learn that, honestly. I don't want to. I think it would take me forever to figure out that this is a 1920s shirt and that's a whatever, and I don't have the desire to do it. So, but I can pick it all up. I can tell it's a vintage tag. I can haul it to the vintage store, consign it, and then there I would only take cash because I'm not going to buy more vintage unless I happen to see something like a Polo Ralph Lauren vintage or something that is in my wheelhouse. So it is unlimited in a city the size of Denver, and then 40 miles up is Colorado Springs, and they have a lot of locations of these same stores. So theoretically, if I wanted to turn this into a business, there's 50 stores, literally, I'm not exaggerating, I think, in Denver where I could sell, consign, kids, if you include the kids' clothing locations, and then on my way up. So I'm counting the one in Wyoming, and then you get to Fort Collins, and there's all of those. Then there's a couple in Cheyenne, Wyoming, which I'm at a lot. And then you start getting into Longmont, Loveland, you get into Denver. So on this trek that I'm taking every week anyway, I can stop and sell to these places. So anyway, this particular one that I checked out, so this will only be my second chain of stores that I know anything about. The first one's in Wyoming, like I said, but they limit you to 25 items a week. And I think that's where I missed it. I did not realize that these other stores in Denver are desperate for inventory and they want you to come every day. At least this chain does. I got in there and I took 2 IKEA bags full, and I'm like, oh, this is probably too much. They're not going to like this, but I'm going to go anyway. I'm just going to go show up, and I'm older. I'm not this young demographic to be going to Plato's Closet. So I thought, they're going to peg me as this old lady, and they're not going to take any of this stuff, because I did grab it quick, and it's not, I am good enough to at least pick a little bit better styles. I know somewhat what some of the young girls are wearing. I know wide leg jeans are in right now. I know it's not tapered. So I do try to follow people on YouTube and learn some of the current styles. So I'm not that horrible at that, but I thought, I'm going to these teeny bopper places, and that's not to be an insult. I hope you're 21 and you have a big eBay business. I respect you. My son's 30. He's doing very well on Amazon, but that's the only word that comes to mind. Like, I'm going into these like young people, teeny bopper type stores and showing up, and I'm in my 50s trying to peddle clothing. And so I got there and I was very, very pleasantly surprised. This chain they do have a lot of younger styles, and I guess I would say overall they have a younger demographic, but they take a ton of Ann Taylor. They take a ton of, there's even Christopher and Banks in there, which I would not consign to them and waste my time, but they take like everyday brands. But this is a huge chain with chandeliers in it. They're located in mall areas, so you have to go as if you're going to the mall, only thankfully they have outside doors, so I don't have to haul IKEA bags in. So anyway, I got in there. I took my 2 IKEA bags, which I will show you at the end. And they said this will take about a half hour. There was no one in line. There were customers in there, but there were no one in line at the 2 locations I did get to. So I put them up, put my 2 bags up there, and I went up there at the end. They text you, so I shopped in there. So first let me show you what I got. Now, I didn't keep the 2 locations straight, so I got some at one, some at the other, and this was all free, as in stuff I sold to them. So while they were checking out my stuff, I shopped, and I was just trying to honestly get an idea of what they wanted, because I intended to just sell to them for cash, just to pay for my hotels while I'm there, just to get, $100 a day in cash, like go to all these stores and somehow get $100 a day to help offset all my stuff in Denver. And that's what I thought I was doing. So I was just looking around, and then I started seeing things that I knew I could get like $20 and above on eBay or more. And I knew I would get something. I mean, I saw her over there kind of keeping a few things, so I knew I was going to have some money to work with. So anyway, this was on clearance for $5. These are Joseph Ribkoff jeans, brand new with tags. They were on clearance for $5. They're not a heavyweight jean, but either way, I would have gotten them anyway. $5 of my consignment credit went to it. They have this cool like silver paint all purposely on there, and I looked up just Joseph Ribkoff jeans because I always sell the dresses, but this is my first pair of Joseph Ribkoff jeans. Here's the tag, just in case you don't know this brand. You want to know that brand. It's not always a 100% sell through, but it's close. Anyway, so this $5 should turn into easily 40 or 50, so I'm very happy with that. So then I was in there, and this is a new brand to me. I've never heard of Black Milk. Now, they had another Black Milk piece that was not new, and it was a little bit more substantial sweatshirt, and they had like $25 on it. So they do know this brand at some level, but I think because these are just a pair of leggings, they somehow missed it, but new at tags. And these, I paid $8.99 with my consignment credit. I don't think this was on sale at all. But these have a really interesting pattern, and this literally should sell for about $25 to $30 on that. Then this is a new brand to me, and I can't remember my exact comps. It's called Emily and Finn. I just know, I've never heard of this that I know of. I just had a hunch about it. And I don't know if the brand itself is, something you want to pick up, but this cactus dress, it's a teal cactus dress, has solds, and it's really an expensive dress. So I paid $14 of my consignment money to get that, and I'm thinking that it was like a $42 sale or something I was going to get, like in the 40s, plus shipping. So then, this is one of my favorite brands. I've only found it once in my life, but I found it again, just sitting there. Nilly Lotan. I've had a pair of pants before. I had people bombarding me with offers, and I finally sold those for like $80 that I pulled out of the bins. This is just a nice shirt. But anyway, if I would have just walked in off the street with just money in my pocket and not tried to do all the work of the bins and all of that, this says $9 on it, but it was on a rack of clearance, and so I got this for $3. Not bad. Then this is one of my favorite brands, but I've talked about on my channel that used, I'm not picking it up as much. I'm trying to get $20, $25 sales, you know, on my eBay store, and used, I'm struggling to get like, you know, $18 even on these shirts. Now, maybe when winter comes, I'll start picking up the flannels again, and maybe I can get like 23, 24. But this is new at tags, and I had no idea. I looked this thing up, and new at tags, carbon to cobalt, is really good. I mean, you're talking about $60, and I had no idea that they went that high when they were new. So this one, if I would have just walked in off the street, I would have paid $18, but this definitely has the comps to be worth $18 because I will sell it. I'm going to put like $75 on that, and I think I'll get it. This would have been $12 if I would have just walked in off the street. And we all know, if you know your patterns, Lily Pulitzer. It is a size 2. It's part of the 20th anniversary collection. I was using my consignment credit, and I knew I had a decent amount by the time I found this. So I just picked it up because it's, you know, it's free to me in the sense that I just brought them clothing that I paid hardly nothing for. So I went ahead and picked it up. I didn't even run comps on it. I just want Lily Pulitzer and things like that in my store. Okay, then this is a Ralph Lauren. I also paid around $5 for it because it was on one of those same racks. And there are better ones that have another logo here and another logo here. So this is not the best one. If you see this RLC MM9, I guess it is in Roman numerals, look it up. And if it has another big logo here, now this one does on the sleeve, but these have a following because I had to Google Lens this to try to figure out, is it, you know, how people are listing this, because I just didn't know if this is sailing or what the crown meant. I'm trying to learn my Ralph Lauren, but I'm not there yet on this. But anyway, this one, without the better logo and stuff, should still get me about $25, and I ended up paying, it was either $3 or $5, something like that on that one. And then this is Karl Lagerfeld, but it's a limited edition, and these actually do really well. This should get me at least $35 plus shipping. And if I would have walked in off the street, I would have paid $12.99, but I'm not really paying that much because I'm using my credit. So that's what I shopped for before she called me up at both places. So at the first place, I went up there, and she says, we're willing to offer you $75 or $150 in store credit. And I said, sure, that's great. The 2 bags that I will show you, obviously they had about 15 more items in them than they do now because I sold it to them. That's why, I mean, I was going straight from the bins to there, so I didn't do a haul of what I was going to try to consign. And you'll see it is nothing special. It's Banana Republic. It's stuff that I would not sell on eBay because it just takes too long for me. So I'll show you like the quality of stuff I was trying to offer them. But I went up there and I'm like, yeah, that's great, because the weight of these two, and I will move this stuff and try to weigh it and tell you exactly what I paid. The weight of this is less than like $20, $25 in bins money, right? In by weight. I mean, this one here, you know, and I will weigh it accurately and put it down in the description so that, you know, I know that I'm making money here. What if that weighs more and I think, and then I'm not making money? But anyway, so I go up there and she asked me which one I want. And I had already found some of this high-end stuff, and I'm like, okay, I didn't tell her, but I'm thinking, I'm going to source from this place full time. Like, I'm finding Lily Pulitzer, Karl Lagerfeld. I'm finding Carbon to Cobalt with the tag still on it. I'm finding Polo Ralph Lauren on clearance. That particular one isn't one of the good ones, but I do know my Polo Ralph Lauren, at least at some little level. And I'm like, this is where I need to be, you know, so I just took the store credit. So she gives me a gift card with $150 on it. And I'm like, okay, and I checked out and I said thank you. And then she's like, oh, well, you got to take your leftover stuff. And I'm like, oh, I thought they were buying it all. Like, that was my offer for all of it. But they gave me all of it back except for like 10 items. So I don't know what they took out of there. It literally, I should have kept better track, but it literally is like a Banana Republic pair of pants with the tag still on it. It's some Torrid, which is good. I sell Torrid on eBay, but not, little tiny frilly pieces. I sell the more substantial jackets and stuff. And anyway, there was nothing in there at all that even was worth $20 on eBay. And they gave me a $150 gift card at the first one. And so I took all my 2 bags back, and I'm like, okay, so how does this work now? When can I come back, and how much can I bring? Did I bring you too much? And they're like, yeah, no, can you come back tomorrow with more? And they want 3 bags at a time. So I didn't even go in with the potential that I could have. And so I'm like, okay, this is my new life here. So anyway, then I got in the car, drove to the second one. And now remember, this is a bunch of picked over leftovers that the first one said no to. And I know my styles are not very good down here in this bag. I'm going to fix that problem next time. But anyway, so I went to the second one. And another half hour, so I spent another half hour. So this stuff took me an hour to source, the things that I've just showed you. A half hour in the first store, a half hour in the second. I didn't even touch that store. That store is huge. It has so much clothing in there, I can't even tell you. I didn't even look at half the clothing, so who knows what I missed in there. But I wanted to consign, and I wanted to try to get home, because I still had a 3-hour drive after that just to get home, and it was already like 6:30 at night. So I take the same 2 bags to the next one, and they gave me a gift card for $25.18 off of the leftovers the first one didn't take. And, obviously next time I'm going to try to get better stuff. I do think the tips that I've learned online on YouTube from selling, people who sell at Plato's Closet. I don't sell there. I'm going to start, but I haven't. They say, go early in the day so the staff isn't pooped out. They're not trying to leave. Because I'm sure whatever I sold them, the young gals had to tag and put away and get hung up. And so it's more work for them. Because I saw them, finish my stuff and they were tagging what the last lady had sold. So I know that they have more work. So if I'm going in at almost 7 o'clock at night and they close at 9, I know that, it'd probably be better if I do the bins till noon and then go start peddling stuff. And I'm going to try that out. So that's one thing I'm going to improve. I'm also going to definitely improve the quality of the stuff that I'm picking out of the bins. I'm not going to give them eBay quality stuff because I want that. Stuff that's 20 or more plus shipping. I'm keeping that for my eBay business because that's where my core money is going to come from. But I'm definitely going to upgrade the quality. Then I'm going to try all 5 locations of just this one store, and I need to time myself, and my husband will help me make a route. If I'm coming into Denver with stuff to sell, which one do I go to first and which route do I take? And then if I'm leaving the bins, which route do I take? And try to, to the best of my ability, make this like a shorter thing. And before, I didn't know where the stores were. They were located in these huge mall complexes, so I drove around because my GPS wasn't specific to exactly this store. So I had to drive around. I had to call one location and say, because they were having a wine walk or something. So like the event, they were having an event, and there was all the streets were blocked off. So you had to park at one place. So I called and I said, which store is closest to you so that I don't have to walk as far. Because I didn't tell them that, but my shoulder is still like, oh, really bad. So, or my, scapula or whatever is still kind of sore to be hauling like big bags of IKEA stuff around. So I called and it was just like right there, but I had to park at Noodles and Company. So anyway, I'm going to improve that. And then I only have spent a half hour in the store. So I still don't know what brands they feel like are worth more, and I want to do more research there. I've done the research in Wyoming at that store, and I'm kind of starting to bring them stuff that they're really happy to get, and my checks have gone way up since I've put the effort into it. And the stuff I'm taking them is stuff from the bins. Again, it's like a lot of North Face ski pants and things that do kind of move on eBay, but not very fast. And this consignment store in Wyoming gives me almost the same amount that I would get by selling it on eBay myself. So I guess the surprise to me, and these are the takeaways if you decide to do it, is that I'm blessed that this store seems to, at least right now, if I lived there, I would take in inventory 7 days a week. I would take in 3 bags 7 days a week. That would be like my one task of the day. But I can't do that, so I'm going to have to figure out a schedule for myself of how I get the bin stuff and choose wisely there, and yet at the same time have time to have that added task of driving it around. But long story short, I estimate this is about $25 in bin stuff. I'll weigh it and I'll put that accurately. It might be more. I mean, maybe it's $40 in bin stuff. I don't know. But the point is, I have it all left too. It's all left over. This is the rejects, and this can go to the consignment store in Wyoming because they don't reject anything. As long as it's nice and clean, this will sell to the consignment store in Wyoming. So, short version of the story is, even if I spent $40 on all of this stuff, it's all going to be taken and consigned, and just from the one in Wyoming, I'll make hundreds of dollars off of these 2 bags. But it'll take, a month or 2 before I can take it all. That's the problem. I can only do 25 items a week. So within the next month, there's less than 100 items in here. In the next 2 to 3 weeks, this will all be gone and taken to them. In a perfect world, if I would have started earlier, I would have driven to all 5 locations and just kept trying to get $25 at each one and just learning where the stores were and all of that. But if I can get those bags to be really, I didn't even fold the stuff like I should. I mean, I was just thinking, I'm going to go do this. I didn't even have it like really neatly folded. Now when I go in, my IKEA bags are going to be like beautiful, and they like Michael Kors. They seem to like a lot of Torrid. They seem to like a lot of like Everlane and Sleeping on Snow and Anthropologie brands that I can't always get $25 for. They seem to like Ann Taylor. They seem to like Calvin Klein dresses. I can take all those there. Those do okay on eBay for me, but I would rather take them there and use it to get Lily Pulitzer and stuff. So I have a game plan, and the problem is I'm blessed to have all this inventory, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to work too much on it this week. I do want to try to leave by either Monday night or Tuesday, go to the bins for another 5 or 6 hours, and then spend the rest of the day trying to go see the rest of the locations of this one store and see what I can do. So where I stand right now on my consignment is that at the place in Wyoming, I have a almost $200 credit right now there. And I haven't even taken them this week's stuff yet. I'm going to do that on Monday or Tuesday. And so that is an ongoing thing. That place is where I found the $600 Polo Ralph Lauren shirt before. That place is where I found 2 Dixon flannels right side by side before. I sold each of those for around $100. That place is where I'm getting my higher end ticket items there. And there's a lot of $30, $40, $50 items, like, Diane von Furstenberg wrap dresses. They don't mark those up. They put maybe $10 on them. And I always have this huge consignment credit there. So that, I think, other than upgrading what I take them, so like this summer in the past, I would have taken them these little frilly things that I'm paying 30 cents for. Now I'm trying to say, okay, I'm going to pay $2 for Keens at a garage sale, or $2 for Merrell's at a garage sale, or $5 for work boots at a garage sale, or at the bins if I can get them. It's very competitive in Denver at this one place where I go for the shoes. But, sometimes they're getting such good stuff, they leave the Keens and the Merrells. They don't consider those good. But in Wyoming at this one store, they do. So somehow I'm going to upgrade my 25 items a week to be higher end shoes, and things that I see them marking up. And they definitely want men's clothing. They have a ton more women's than men's, so I'm going to do that. And try to emphasize men's, trying to emphasize the brands that they seem to want there. So that's strategy number one. I'm just going to keep that going. It's already going well. It's just a part of my life. I just drive past there when I'm headed to Denver, drop my stuff off, spend a couple hours sourcing, come home with half of my eBay stuff for the week, and it's just perfect. It works for everybody. The reason this is life-changing for me is that I still have to go to the bins. I still have to work very hard at the bins. I haven't found a way to eliminate that yet. Now, if I had all my ducks in a row and did not have any financial goals that we're trying to reach, I think what I would do is literally just get in the car, go to these 5 locations and just shop. I would not have go to the bins, find it, pack it, fold it nice, take it, sell it, drive all over Denver. I think I would just eliminate that piece because this place has the stuff I want. And so when I'm debt free again and I feel like my 401k is getting funded the way I want it, I might dump this whole thing and just go straight to these stores, spend all of my time sourcing in those stores, and get my 100 items a week for eBay that are nice, really nice stuff, and then just come home and that's what I do. Maybe I'll eliminate the bins entirely at some level eventually. But for right now, I am getting all of my eBay inventory for free, guys. 100% for free. Because I'm putting out hundreds of dollars at the bins, but I am not only getting my eBay inventory there at the bins, I am going and I'm making such a profit. If I wanted to, they would have given me $75 cash right then. I could have taken that once a week, maybe when I'm there. Maybe I'll take the cash, and that's my cash for dinner and to go to the bins and spend the money. Maybe, maybe at these 5 locations, once a day I'll just take cash, and then at the other 4 I'll take consignment credit. I don't know. Depends on how streamlined I can get this process. Now, so for right now, I'm very initially excited. Now, I know they say, and they seem to tell me, hey, come back tomorrow, bring more. That's what they seem to be saying, but I don't know. If I really did this like a business and lived in Denver 7 days a week and sold, 200 or 300 items to them a week, would your name's on a sheet of paper. I mean, does it flag you because they can kind of tell you're doing it full time? So that's what I don't know. In the end, I know they say you can come every day, but can you really? So I'm not going to try that. I'm going to try to go to the 5 locations and just see, if they keep not saying anything, and if they do say anything, I'd say, well, you're the one who invited me to come every day. But so I'm thinking that I can not only get all my eBay inventory for free, because this is going to become my primary sourcing area. I mean, in half an hour, I found 8 items that are twice as good as some of the stuff that I even pulled out of the bins. So yes, while I'm at the bins getting this inventory, I still will pull the really nice stuff for eBay. But now I don't have that pressure that, okay, this bins trip is my only source for eBay. What am I going to do if I don't find stuff? Now I can pull out really nice, clean clothing to take to this consignment store. Yes, it has to be Ann Taylor and above. It has to be a little bit nicer brands, Calvin Klein, that kind of stuff. It actually doesn't have to be. I just think that they would accept more of it if I learn my brands. I saw all kinds of low-end brands in there, but I want them to accept all of my bags. Like if I take in, my goal is to take in 3 IKEA bags to each store, and it's such good stuff that they're just like, oh yeah, we want all this. That is my goal, is to perfect this down to a science, to where they, it's all the brands that is, and these are people who, I don't know how Plato's Closet trains people. I don't know. I've never even attempted to go there yet. I do know the brands that Plato's Closet wants, because I've studied it forever and just never gone in and did it. I have all this knowledge that I just can never implement, but I'm going to start. So I'm going to start with this. I've got Wyoming down, and then I'm going to go do these 5 locations in Denver, and I'm going to get it down to a science and figure out more problems I'm sure will creep up. getting stuck in traffic. This could be a 6-hour ordeal all over the 5 locations in Denver. Maybe it takes me 6 hours to go do this, and maybe in the end I'm like, that's too much. I don't know. I need to figure out, do I sell first thing in the morning? Do I go after the bins at like 5 o'clock at night? I have a lot to figure out still to see if this is really feasible for all of my eBay inventory. But if I had been able to go to all 5 locations and find even 3 items per store while I'm waiting to get my gift card, I mean, that's huge. That's just one day too. That's not even going back the next day with new stuff that you got at the bins. And I've watched people who sell on Plato's Closet. I've watched almost every video that's out there on YouTube about selling at Plato's Closet. And they say that as long as you're picking up front stuff Plato's Closet wants, even if that one location doesn't take it, you fold it up, you put it in a corner, and then a month later, if you know it's something that they buy normally, you take it back, and then they buy it. Like the next girl or the next guy who's at the register says, oh yeah, this is cute. And so this here, I think I'm going to go ahead and take to the Wyoming consignment. I think it's stuff that I would not pick again to take to this store, so I'm done with these 2. But in a perfect world, I just keep taking back the same, adding better and newer stuff, and taking back the same. So what I'm thinking, this is where I'm at right now, what I'm thinking is that I spent about $40. This is my temporary math. It's not 100% accurate. And this isn't my time. My time is something, but I have to drive anyway to get my inventory. So I don't think I'm spending any more time. So anyway, let's say $40 just to be way on the high side. Everything I spent comes back to me from the Wyoming place. So even if that's all I did, I'm good. But then I have $180 or $200 credit at the Wyoming one. Then I have $180 credit now at this store. And it was too late at night. I didn't want to stay there and shop 3 more hours and get another hotel. So I just headed home with my $180 left on my gift card. But I have all that money left, and look at the quality of the stuff I'm finding. So I'm thinking that my $40 investment instantly at these 5 stores, now not at the Wyoming one, that's a consignment and it takes a little bit to get your money in the loop. For the most part, I think they put it out that same week. I'm not sure. I don't think they have like a storage unit full of clothing. I think that's why sometimes they don't accept any, because they're short staffed. And I think from the time I take my bag in Wyoming, they're tagging it and putting it out. So it isn't that long to get my money at that store. But just long case scenario, I think my $40, even if we really extend it out, even if it takes a whole month to do this whole thing for some weird reason, I'm thinking I've turned it into almost $400. I'm not kidding you, because these 2 bags of stuff would easily get me $150 or $200 at the Wyoming one over time, as they put it out and get it tagged and I get my money and get my check. And then this, I turned that, and you have to remember, I only sold 20 items total. I sold 5 to one store because she actually had it on the piece of paper. So the store that gave me the $25 credit took 5 items. The other store, I was just trying to shop, and I was so excited about the shopping. I forgot to ask how many items they took. I should have. That would have been common sense to make this video. But anyway, I am so excited about the potential. I think it just takes the pressure off of me to find a certain thing at the bins. I think now I can go and find Calvin. I just think I can expand what I pick up at the bins. And I haven't even tried the children's clothing yet. I haven't even ever sold at Once Upon a Child yet. I haven't even ever sold at, there's another one in Denver called My Kids Closet, and I've never even sold at that yet. And so I think for the next month, I'm going to just work on this. And I'm not going to go sign up for any more consignment stores yet. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to start picking up the vintage, or maybe I will call on the vintage store in Denver, or 1 or 2 of them, and say, how often can I come? What years of vintage are you looking for? What do you want from me, type thing. And I might add that one in next, just because I see so much vintage in there that the other people aren't picking up. The kids' clothes go instantly, like, whoosh, they just go. Now, I'm still always in a bin where I could get my share, and I could get my share of kids' clothes, but I think that's a very common business, and so I'm trying to be competitive, but yet not fight over stuff. So, yeah, guys, I'm very excited. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you see a hitch in this. I mean, I would be totally content if I just offset my hotels when I'm in Denver or offset some of my inventory. I think it's going to be like $1,000 a month positive cash flow thing in the right direction. Because when I started consigning to the Wyoming store, it really did give me weeks where I go in there, I have a credit, I've only given them a little bit of bin stuff that I didn't pay a lot for, and I'm getting really nice stuff. And that alone really helped my business. So now I think this is going to work. But anyway, I think that's all the information I have to give you about it. I can't think of any other details other than if you do nothing else, if you don't have cash flow issues, if you're trying to upgrade the quality of things you sell on eBay, if all you do is just start looking at some of the consignment stores and sourcing from there, yes, you do have to pay up. Like if I didn't have the money from the credit, I would be paying up a little bit, but the quality is so much better. So if that's all you get from this video is to maybe look into some consignment stores to start sourcing at. And then if you are in my boat or you're just trying to invest more and, you really want more money in your business, consider grabbing stuff at the bins or garage sales. Make sure it's, stuff that you've kind of researched. Just the first time, just go do it. First of all, don't dink around like I did. I never purposely did, but I just never fit it in because I didn't really suspect it would work out this well. So go, just take what you have. Take stuff out of your eBay store that has just been there for a year and it's not moving. Slowly pull it. Don't pull it all in one day, but slowly start pulling out the seasonal things that you would never buy again, and go start checking out the consignment stores in your area, and let me know at the bottom what happens. Let me know in the comments or message me. And let me know if you have done this or if you have any other tips for me. So the other thing I do need to do is physically. I'm 50 years old. I work out all the time. I try to do what I can. But I am starting to feel that I'm like getting little injuries here. Like 6 months ago, my neck was out. And it's all from having a very physical business, doing this. So I'm going to buy a shopping cart, a collapsible one on Amazon, and I'm going to get that as soon as I, get all this cleared up, and I'm going to go again. It won't arrive for this week in time to go to the bins this week, but that's okay. I'll get it. And I'm going to start using that because a lot of this location of this consignment store is I need to walk 3 or 4 blocks, which is no big deal. But I just don't want 3 big IKEA bags on my back just because of my shoulder. And so, but I want these things full. So I'm going to get a shopping cart buggy type thing that can just plop in 3 IKEA bags and wheel it to the stores, which is kind of a catch-22. It makes you look a little bit more like a professional trying to sell clothes. I don't think these locations care. I don't think they do. If I find out that they're not buying as much because it looks like I'm, at the bins reselling, and if it looks like that they do care about that, then maybe I'll just get some kind of a cart that's a little bit more obscure, not one of those nice ones that people take to the bins. So that's what I have to figure out, is how do I get into the store, not necessarily reveal, hey, I'm a full-time eBay reseller. Again, I don't think they would care, but they might. So I need to figure out physically how to not only work at the bins, which I do 2 or 3 days a week sometimes, and I'm grabbing and moving and all that, and I'm not always as careful as I need to be about reaching. So I've corrected that. This time, if it was to the back of the bin, I waited for one of those guys to come along, and then, I'm just like, not doing that anymore, because I think that's how I hurt my arm, as I overreached. Like I really wanted something at the back of the bins, and I just overreached for my height, So I need to figure out logistically how to get more from the bins, not have to carry my IKEA bags around even at the bins. I can't carry my IKEA bags around on my shoulder anymore. I've got to either drag it on the floor, which that's a whole nother thing. One of my IKEA bags got stolen this week. That's why I haven't been doing that. That's a whole nother video I might make. I'm trying to decide if I want to make that video because I am miffed at that Goodwill outlet, let me tell you. But if I talk about them too much, they are a private business and they can just say goodbye. So I'm kind of hesitant to put too much out there about how they run their Goodwill outlets. Like, I am not impressed, let me tell you. But anyway, so I need to find something on wheels that is also foldable, because that's my issue. I'm driving from Wyoming and I want an empty car to do all of this in, whether I find the mother load or not. I have been to the bins and just been like, all this stuff comes out. It doesn't happen very often. It happens like once a year, but I have literally been there and like the Ralph Lauren bedspread set comes out and it's worth $250 and I'm the one there and I grab it, but that takes up half my car, you know, because it's the king size comforter and all the sheets, and so I have to have free space just in case something like that does happen. Secondly, I need to kind of work out of my car, like when I'm going to the first place and then they reject it, it's not folded back up nice, so I need to be able to have enough space in my car to open up the back hatch, refold everything, take it into the second place. And so I need a little bit of work room. So the point is, I can't have one of those really big carts that doesn't completely collapse, because that would take up, with those big wheels, you know, that they have on them, that's what I want. And they're only like $60 on Amazon. It's like, maybe, I don't know if people use it in their yard or for work or what, but they're like, what is it? It's not vinyl. I'm saying the wrong word. It's like canvas, and then it's got big wheels on it. That would be perfect for the bins and for this job, but I don't think I can have the space for it to tote it there. So I'm going to have to be creative and figure it out. But yeah, I have to take out the back-breaking factor out of this job that I'm doing right now, because I really came close to like probably permanently injuring myself this last time. It's been about a week and a half and my shoulder is 100% better, but it's not, I mean, I still wake up and have to take Tylenol. So I definitely have to eliminate that from this whole thing. But otherwise, guys, I'm very optimistic. So I've rambled enough. I've tried to think of what your questions might be ahead of time. I'm sorry that it was disjointed, but I don't know how to organize the story anymore except tell you where I'm at with it after just 1 week. Now remember, this is preliminary. I haven't been to the other 3 locations yet. I don't know how far they are, and I don't know how long the whole circle is going to do. So I will report back. So we'll call this consignment number 1 or something. And I will update you this coming week. I'm going to try to pick the other 3 stores. If I can't get to all 5, I'm going to choose the other 3 just to check out where they're at and just get a feel for who seems to buy the most and all of that. So I will update you. Let me know what you think, guys. Constructive criticism's fine. Let me know if you think this is way too much work for what I'm trying to do. I'm open to that. But I think financially, for my situation, this is a way to literally get free higher end. I mean, I consider Lilly Pulitzer and some of these higher end eBay inventory, and I think this is a free way for me to get it. So, all right, we'll talk to you later. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.